Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here, PayPal. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's going on after earnings, how far do I think things are going to go. It's a crazy stock, right? I mean, I think basically the idea, this is the weekly chart here. I have a GAN here. It's been following this GAN here relatively well in terms of the market symmetry here. And what you're seeing here is that it got rejected here, the top arc broke through this bottom arc over here, went down, basically backtesting angle here, and it was able to push through, right? It got through the arc here, is able to get back to the top of the arc here. We got rejected. The entire time when it was getting up there, it was on declining volume, so you knew that the trend was a little bit exhausted here. And initially, I thought that, hey, you could be trying to find a higher low here. There's a support band right there. Maybe it could hold. There is some, contingent support down here. Maybe it could hold. But it decided to just break through all this. I think the question would be, how far does it go? I don't think it has to go all the way down here. I do think that it has to find a higher low somewhere. And I think logically speaking, anywhere between here around 77 to around 75, 74 would be a good area for it to bounce, right? Just looking at previous history, I don't think it has to go up, down that much further. I think it's getting pretty close. If you're just looking at the Bollinger Band here, you can see usually after a breakdown, after touching the upper Bollinger Band, got exhausted, usually it wants to gravitate to the other side, right, which is going to be lower Bollinger Band right here. Bollinger Band right here now is around $75.65. So I think there's still a potential for it to go down there and touch that, right, around $75. If you look at the monthly chart here, it's also a very beautiful monthly chart where you have a tweezer top over here. And it's trying to find a higher low before it bounces and form, further higher highs. Initially, there's a possibility where it can just hit the psychological $100 area, but it decided to just get rejected up there at the GAN arc. So be it, right? How far is it going to go down? Well, the monthly Tenkan down here is also around $75. So I think there's a lot of confluence in terms of maybe going back down, test the $75 range. It doesn't have to, right? But it could do that. And I think that would be a pretty decent support level down below. I don't think it has to go back all the way down to like 72 or whatever. But I think that probably a really good area that people would probably want to start accumulating there. With all that said and done, this is still very much of a bull trend. You basically have the negative sloping 20 moving average has been flipped from resistance here to support. Is it going to have to come back all the way down to like $68, $69 to backtest it? I don't think so. I think it just needs to find a higher low wherever that would be. I think 75, 74, 75 would be a good area where it could probably find some pretty decent support there. So that's kind of what I think. But again, if it breaks down, then yeah, I don't think it's going to go below maybe $69. Would probably be where I would expect some really strong support being found there. Again, 72, you also have some pretty decent support down here as well on the monthly. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with PayPal. This is still very much of a higher low type situation. I would not be scared long term. I still think that the eventual target is going to be up here. It's going to break $100, which is a psychological level, right? If it's able to break $100, the psychological level is probably going to grab it up here to the 120s or so. Is kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe even 130, depending where it hits the cloud, and that's going to be some pretty strong resistance. But $100 at the 0.32 is also going to be some pretty strong psychological level here as well. So that's what I think about PayPal. Now talking about Sofi. I'm going to go through a couple of stocks here. Sofi, it's got some pretty decent market symmetry here, right? I mean, basically what it did is got rejected here for arc and then pushed through the arc over here, and it got to the next arc and it had to backtest the 0.618 here, bounced perfectly from that. And right now you're just backtesting the arc over here after a breakout. Didn't really quite make it to 0.786 here. Could it break down the arc and backtest the 0.618 here again? Possible, entirely possible. Is this trend a little bit tired here if you're looking at the RSI here? Yeah, you're kind of going up here a little bit on bearish divergence here. Again, stocks can keep going up on bearish divergence. That doesn't really bother me, right? But I think that there is some possibility where it's just kind of hovering around this arc, or maybe even break down underneath a little bit, get to the confluence zone, the angle arc over here, cool down a lot of things here before pushing up to the next place. Now, the reason why I think it's still a bullish chart is because it broke through this arc over here and is back testing it. And when you're back testing ARK, if it's able to hold, if it doesn't, then it's just going to keep going down, trying to support underneath, right? But if it's able to hold, then the next area I think it's going to grab it up to would be this ARK up here, which is going to be, depending on where it hits, it's going to be around like the mid-high 20s, right? It's going to be close to the previous all-time high wick over here. So that's where I see the next target being. And if it's able to push through the 0.786 over here, and it gets up to the ARK over here, it probably have some pretty strong resistance here. But whatever it's going to do in 2025, after it's done, maybe even in like 2026 or something like that, then you're talking about some pretty decent all-time high price action up above. Affirm is stuck in a range right now. From multiple things I'm looking at, it's stuck in a range on the ARK and gain angle, and the 45-degree angle, right? It's stuck in a range. It's fine support here, but support band, which is great, but it's also stuck in range between the Tenkan and Kijun, right? So it's just stuck. There's really not much else to say about this stock, with the exception that I do think that it has found some pretty decent support at a very important fit level, which is a 0.618. It really broke through 0.618 here. It's fine support here, right? Again, everything is stuck in a range. 0.618 bar support band. I think it's probably going to break through to the upside because of that, but you have to break through the Ichimoku Tenkan over here. If you look at the monthly chart, this still looks like an extremely nice bull trend, right? Big giant green candle, 3 kind of inside candles over here, more or less, trying to ride up the upper Bollinger Band, trying to go up over time. Still holding the Tenkan and Kijun. It looks like it wants to get inside the leading span A here, inside the immature cloud up there, right? So a lot of things are looking pretty bullish for Affirm. I still think that the ultimate target for Affirm next is going to be $92.56. It's going to be 0.786 level. If it's able to break about the ARK, that's where it's probably going, right? Shopify, what do I think? Well, it did bounce through this ARK over here, so naturally it should go up, right? Because it did get reached out at 0.618, bounce off the ARK, bounce off 0.5, found some really decent support there. So, also have a support band right around there. So big influence on support. It's trying to break the 0.618 here. I'm not sure if it's going to have that easy of a time. It's going to be around 118. Because if it breaks this area, it's going to go into 142. It's going to 0.786 up here, right? I just don't know whether or not it has enough juice to do that quite just yet. But it's looking pretty decent in terms of market symmetry. I think it just needs to break the 0.618. That's going to gravitate up to the next level of 0.76. You can also see it's using the Tenkan here as tailwind too. So it's looking better and better. But again, I just don't like when things are at resistance. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious here and say that, hey, we'll see how it reacts and kind of go from there. If it's able to close the week above the 0.618, then I'm going to be more bullish on this. Robinhood, it's been a crazy ride. It's been about the 0.786 over here for weeks now. I think this looks pretty convincing, although there's always a possibility it just gets rug pulled and come back and test the ARK here, right? But so far, it doesn't look like it wants to. If you're looking at the RSI, you can also see that uptrend here, maybe a little bit exhausted. You have equal strength in RSI when price went up a lot. So maybe a little bit of tiredness here. Maybe it's need to pull up sideways. Maybe you need to even break down underneath the 0.76 here and kind of hover around there for a little bit. Maybe it needs to wait for some of the support to come up before it goes up higher, right? But a support band, tank, the weekly Ichimoku. Maybe it's just waiting for some of those things, because if you look at the monthly chart, it's just way overextended above the upper Bollinger Band here. It's just still way outside the upper Bollinger Band, but I cannot deny that this is a very, very strong bull trend because the lower Bollinger Band continues to go down, right? So I'm not going to bet against it, but I just don't want to be curious about it, trying to sell here, trying to buy back lower, because I don't know how low it's going to go if it ends up correcting. You do have a Tenkan down here, which again, we're a little bit way far overextended. So, a little bit of a word caution. I probably wouldn't buy Robinhood where it's at, but I'm going to keep holding because there's no reason necessarily for me to sell, because I don't know where to buy it lower. It's just a lot of additional stress that I don't really need in my life. But it's a bullish chart on a higher time frame or a lower time frame. There's a possibility for it to kind of go down lower to backtest some of this stuff, maybe 43, 35. Somewhere around there. There's entirely possibility you can 38. Entirely possibility you can come back and backtest and try to grab some liquidity and try to build up a better base before going higher. Entirely possible, but it's just a very, very powerful bull trend, so I'm not going to bet against it. Square, nothing. It's done nothing. This consolidation zone over here, it's on, kind of declining volume. Whenever you have volume going up here, that's when you have a little bit of a pump. Still trying to break this trend line over here, still unable to do it. I really think that the money is going to be at the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. It's been trying to break through the 2-week Ichimoku cloud here, just unable to do so. You do have a Tenkan over here that's rising. You might be able to use that potentially as tailwind to kind of break through this range over here. We'll see, right? But overall, I cannot say that this is a bearish chart. Just looking at it, it looks pretty decent. It's just basically breaking out this zone over here. This horizontal zone over here around 85, 89, 90, somewhere around there is back testing that zone over here. So I cannot say that this is a bearish chart by any means. You look at the you look at a monthly here, you can see that basically the entire time is trying to just go up on the upper Bollinger Band, just having a hard time going up too far, too fast. It's trying to wait for Bollinger Band to expand. And that's exactly what it's doing right now. Looking at Ichimoku, it looks like we're clearing Tenkan Kijun. Can it rug pull and come back down to like 77 or something like that before pushing up to the cloud up here around 120? Entirely possible. This whole inverted head and shoulder pattern, you ever break above of that. So if you're looking at targets, the 40 down here, 80, 85 up here. So the target is going to be right around 120s, right? That's where it's probably going to go. Because it did end up breaking about this inverted head and shoulder. That's probably where it's going to go. It's going to be around like the 120s. Okay. So I'm not going to say too much else. It's between the 0.61 and 0.5. You do have some 0.5 foot level resistance here, but it's just, there's some history here. So you might end up getting some initial rejection, but I think it's probably going to go to the cloud. That's where it's probably going to resolve this inverted head and shoulder pattern here. Upstart, and you look at Upstart here, very beautiful chart. Basically push through, back test the Tenkan here, and it's probably going to go to the cloud. I really don't have much else to Upstart. It's a little bit stuck in range right now. If you're looking at the GAN I have here, it's still underneath the 0.5, still underneath the GAN arc here. It's trying to build up energy here. The brown support band to push up. It's trying to build up energy with the Kijun down here to push up. But I think the direction wise is probably going to keep pushing up because you are talking about some pretty nice higher time frame market symmetry here, which I think will ultimately end up working out, right? Bullish cross, Tenkan Kijun, backtest the Tenkan, could it come back and rug pull backtest the Kijun down here before up further? Possible, right? But directionally, if you don't care about the short time frame stuff, directionally, this is higher highs, higher lows, and it's probably going to challenge the cloud up here. It's just going to be triple digits. I think there's going to be some, triple digit action here sometime 2025 for Upstart. If you can handle the volatility, it's a very volatile stock. And you reclaim the monthly Tenkan here. And you also had basically backtest the 0.76 here perfectly. And it's basically just hanging out in space above the previous all-time high. Got rejected 1.4 and 4. That's probably where it's going to end up gravitating up to. But again, volatility is expected with a stock like this. I think it's found support where it needed to find support, right? I think it's found support where it needed to find support here at a rising 20. So I think the trend's probably going to be some further bullish continuation here. And then one last one that this is one that Danny's interested in for very bullish stock here, bullish band expansion here on the monthly, trying to push about the 1.236, having a hard time doing that. It's still a little bit way far away from the Tenkan, just like what Robinhood is doing. Again, I'm not going to bet against it. Can it come back and all the way back test the 0.786 over here around $88? It can. Does it have to? No. I think that it's a very bullish chart. It looks like it's got some pretty impulsive price action here. It could even just come back and back test the previous all-time high here at the bottom support band, and that would be fine. Like there's not really any need to go down much further. But again, if it breaks down underneath the previous all-time high to find a higher low, where is it going to go? 0.786 is probably where it's going to go. So that's going to be your absolute risk level here, but it's finding some pretty decent Tenkan support. It's a bullish chart. The only thing is I don't like to chase because sometimes you do have some bearish divergence here. It could potentially cool down either through time or through price. I'm just going to be a little bit more cautious. I would not add to 4 here. That's just not what I would normally do because I don't like to chase. But it's a bullish stock if you can handle volatility. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this fintech update. Have a good one. Bye.